Hi folks, this is Danny at Bradley James Classics, and today's modern classic, or fast becoming a modern classic, is a car that's not an everyday sight on the UK roads. It's actually a Rover 25, which is the second generation of the 200 series car from Rover. Now this one is rather special. It's probably as close to buying a new one as you might get today, because remarkably it's only covered 5,737 miles at time of recording. Now it is in uncanny condition, because even when you pop your head underneath, there's components in there that still look new. You know, considering its age, it really has aged very nicely. There's some excellent information about the car that I'm really happy to have, because it helps understand the history and the fact that it has actually dropped into a enthusiast hands and did form the part of a small Rover collection at one point. But I have some nice words on the history of the car. But before we talk about the history of this particular car, we'll talk about the Rover 25 in general. Now, Rover originally launched the 200 series back in the mid 1980s. There was a Rover 200 which was available in various body guises. It was predominantly a four-door saloon car, but they did have variants like coupes. They had the convertible model, they had an estate, and they had some high performance versions too. Now in later years, the need for a Metro replacement was there, which had been a particularly good selling car for Rover, because the last of the Metros were Rover hundreds actually. So a replacement was required, because the small car market was still quite huge in the UK, and there was a lot of patriotic Brits who wanted to buy British. So Rover did pretty well, and actually this car was pretty successful in the time it was available to sell. Built alongside the Honda at Longbridge, and then Honda eventually moved production over to Swindon, where they had their huge plant, and then that left some production space to create more models of this Rover 25. Now it's a sprightly performer, because it does have a 1.4 double overhead cam engine with 16 valves. So it does move nicely. It's got a 5-speed gearbox. It's good on fuel, and it's actually quite a comfortable car. The later car, the 25, which actually came out in 1999 and it ran through to the year 2005, which is pretty much the end of Rover as we know it. The BMW acquisition occurred a little earlier than that, and certain models were dropped and certain models were enhanced. So this one actually had quite a decent production run, in that this shape, this last generation Rover 25, actually did run from 99 through to 2005. Now, we've mentioned the engine that's known as the K-Series engine. It does move nicely. It does have power steering. It does have electric windows. You can adjust the mirrors, etc. So it's got a nice specification. A fairly basic car compared to what you're finding in today's modern cars, but nevertheless excellent condition. And it just has been treated to a set of brand new tyres. Not necessarily that the old ones were worn out, it was the fact that they were a little old and a little perished. So it's just been treated to a set of tyres. Nice touches is that it also has a high quality Bosch silver battery fitted to it, and the small things like having the dealer number plates are still here, and that's Phoenix. That looks like a Coventry postcode possibly, and then we have the dealer sticker there as well. And you can see those tyres are so new, they've hardly worn in. This one does have wheel trims rather than alloys. It's recently just rained, but I can assure you until about 5 minutes ago the car was gleaming. It looks very striking in this brilliant silver. That's the dealer number plate on the front, and then we can have a little walk around the car together so you can see the condition is quite remarkable. It's very clean underneath the engine as well, and if you follow my camera work, hopefully you can see how straight and completely devoid it is of any damage whatsoever. The car has been looked after extremely well, and as you can imagine, with less than 6,000 miles on the clock, it hasn't had a great deal of use in those years. It's been popped away and kept in a collection, and extremely well loved and looked after if the bodywork condition is anything to go by. It's the same story inside. It's really, really lovely inside. I mean, it's a contrasting colour scheme. It has a grey cloth interior. Let's show you that. So very pleasant seating here, and as we see, space for 3 in the back. There's 3 seat belts anyway. Rover BMW mats, as it was at the time, and a little bit of wood effect in the middle to prove it's a Rover. A CD player in this model, and then a rather nice dashboard. And if you just look how good a condition the steering wheel's in, you know, it's really hardly worn at all. Very pleasant in the door cards. I mentioned the electric adjusting mirrors. Down here are the switches for the 2 electric windows. Lovely through the headlining, and I know it's strange, but it actually has got that new car smell about it still, which is remarkable for a car which is actually from 2004. So, just to recap, a 1.4 K series Rover engine, which is a 16 valve twin cam engine, so by no means a slow car. This one very much keeps up with modern traffic, being a fairly modern car itself still, of course. We have spoken about the fact that the Rover 25 is a complete new car, ground up difference from the original Rover 200, which did look a little bit like the Honda, which was sold at about the same time. And I think I mentioned to you Honda cars being built on the same production line as the Rovers back in Longbridge in the middle 1980s. When they rebuilt this car, when they restructured the Rover 200 series and it became the 25, it did actually have a different chassis which gave a much better handling and steering. The front end of the car actually looks very much like the range topping Rover 75 that was available, so it's got quite a smart front end. The twin headlamps and that chrome grille, getting quite closely, we still retain that rather splendid Viking ship badge for Rover, so it's by all means a true Rover in that it was very well loved by a lot of British car buying people of the era, and it was a popular choice and something that you often saw on the roads of the UK. The numbers have dwindled out, so finding examples in this condition is extremely rare. I love the fact that they gave you the Union Jack. In fact, even this high level spoiler with the brake lighting doesn't make the car look really smart, but of course the fact that it's covered less than 6,000 miles makes this car extra special. And also, we think back to the days where there wasn't a warning light for absolutely everything. Even though these cars were started to be fitted with the sort of early check control systems and computers that had some circuitry checking, but compared to the modern ECU and the pain of a engine management light, these cars were from a simpler time, let's say. Drive's especially nice. I think it's worth showing you under the bonnet, because then it'll help you appreciate just how nice and clean the car is inside and out. And you'll be happy to hear that there's a full set of keys. There's also the handbook and rather a lot of information about the car, which I think what I'll do is probably just write that into the car's description. And as you can see here, that is incredibly clean. This is what I'm talking about, the sort of new car look. You can see that Bosch battery. You can see these inner wings and how new everything is looking. It really is a complete credit to a previous owner to keep a car in this sort of condition, and it's a real bonus for a new owner. So despite it being a small car, 16 valve twin cam engine as mentioned, fuel injection system, it is a car that doesn't hang around, but it still returns very good fuel economy. You'll be very impressed with its performance, and overall it's probably one of the nicest examples that's going to be available today. There really aren't many of these cars left, and I'm just going to pop behind the steering wheel and you can see yourself that we have a CD player radio here. We've got a cooling system with an air conditioner, heated rear windscreen, front lamps, a rev counter, a clock gets mounted up here. There's a fairly generous glove box here, quite a nice sporty steering wheel with volume controls here, horn works here, and almost half a tank of fuel. That's something that isn't always the way with these cars, I can assure you. They seem to have very little when they come in most of the time, not this one. A nice stereo system. I've noticed some high-level tweeter speakers there with the main speaker in the door and the speakers in the rear, so the stereo is very nice in here, and it just is so fresh. I mean, it really does still have a new car smell about it. You can adjust the steering wheel so that can go up and down, and the seats are very, very easy to adjust, and you can adjust those in various positions as well, so it will fit a lot of different shapes and sizes. Now we've had a little look at the under the engine bay. Let's see if I get lucky, I can open the boot with one hand, and there we are. As you could expect, it's not going to be in by any means scruffy. It's like a new boot actually. It's nice that the parcel shelf, that looks as new. It's a decent sized boot. And then what's nice about cars from this era, it has an actual spare tyre, and you can see that that's still in its packaging. And the spare tyre was replaced as well. That's brand new because the old spare tyre would have been a little perished. So folks, just to summarise, this is a Rover 25 1.4 petrol with a 5-speed manual gearbox from 2004. It's covered 5,700 miles. It's in stunning condition, literally unmarked inside and out, particularly clean engine bay. It drives without fault. It does have some nice standard features from the factory, which include useful modern additions to cars, things like power steering, electric windows, electrically adjusted mirrors as well. This particular model comes with air conditioning. It just is almost like new car, except from 2004. I think anyone who's looking for an economical car to use and own, this one's always been garaged, and it has retained a lot of its original paperwork, 2 sets of keys, that sort of thing. We can deliver this car anywhere in the UK for a sensible price. We just need your postcode to give you a quote. We can part exchange your classic, modern or light commercial vehicle. All the cars we have get checked over at our own workshops here in Overton, Hampshire, and therefore when you receive the car, it's ready to go. They're fully cleaned. I mean, this one's super clean already, but it will be valeted to the best of our valeting department's ability, and it's like new car day. We always do our best to get the cars in the best shape they can be, and if there are any gremlins or anything you need to know about a car, we will always have a chat with you and pass those on. However, no such gremlins with this one. It's a really excellent example of a well-loved Rover 25. Not too many left, and certainly I wouldn't imagine there's going to be many left in this condition with this mileage. Well, folks, I hope that's covered everything you need to know about this little Rover. Danny at Bradley James Classics signing out. Thank you for watching today's video.